how's it going, guys? It's Dark Blue Abarth here, and today, well, like I said in the previous video, we shall be going over the condition of the Abarth and how it's been after about a year or two. Because, well, it's a pretty important topic really, because then it shows you how well the Abarth lasts after driving it for quite a while. So, how about we get started? So then guys, we usually start off with the cosmetics and the aesthetics first whenever we talk about this car. And that is probably not the best thing to do because, well, the mechanics are the most important thing to talk about. And I seem to leave that, well, near to the end of the video. And hey, that's the most important thing to talk about first. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. I mean, the mechanics, the engine bay, and all the components that make it work are the thing that we should talk about first. So, how about we just turn the phone around here and get it pointed at the engine bay. And as you can see, it's all nice and clean. But that obviously won't tell you anything about how the car is actually running. And well, that's the main thing to talk about really. An engine bay can look pretty and good, but it's the wires, it's the mechanics and all the bits and pieces that are the most important to look at. Because hey, those can be the crucial things when buying a car. Now, the Abarth's engine bay, well, has been fantastic to me through the time that I've had it. And I mean, it's coming up to nearly 2 years of ownership now, and I've got to say, it has been superb. All the components have been fantastic and have worked completely well, and I haven't had to change anything apart from the battery, which is pretty much normal in any car really. I mean, this car is around 5 years old, so that's kind of the right time for the battery to live for, and well, it's got another 6-year battery in it, so that's not going to have to change for quite a while. Now, this car has around 31 to 32,000 miles on it, and that isn't that much for a car of its age. It's pretty fresh. But how about I tell you the rest of the mechanics inside this little shoehorned engine. Now, the main things about an Abarth's engine is the cam belt and the water pump. Those are probably the most crucial things when it comes to an Abarth, and the thing I see the most that gets changed when looking at a listing or just talking to another Abarth owner. Now, on the Series 4 Abarths, it's usually around 5 years old and 60,000 miles for when they need changing. And mine sort of is due, but it's not crucial at the moment, and I will probably get it done next year. So those are the main two things that usually need changing on the Abarth, and well, as long as your car is meeting those criteria of 5 years old and 60,000 miles, you probably won't need to change it yet. On the Series 3s, it might be a little bit, well, shorter because, hey, the car might be older, so it might be needing it a little bit sooner than you might think. But on the Series 4s, it should last a lot longer and should be needed to change a little bit, well, more in the future when you get it. So, what other bits of the engine do we need to talk about? This big guy right here, the turbo. Now, usually the turbos are quite important indeed. I mean, it's the extra kick of boost for this car, so you want to make sure it's all running right and making sure it works properly. And well, the turbos in these cars haven't really been an issue. I haven't seen many posts or talked to anyone about these cars and heard anything bad about the turbos. I've heard a couple people talk negatively about them, but to be honest, that is when they usually tune them wrong or just do a little bit too much to them that just kind of overwhelms them. And well, this is pretty much a stock turbo with a stage 2 tune on it, and I've got to say it's been running perfectly fine. I've had no issues and it's been faultless, though I'm going to say, fingers crossed, not trying to jinx myself here, but it's been absolutely perfect. Now, usually the Abarth turbos do last quite a long time, and I don't really think there is an interval for when they need changing. It's just kind of, well, how the car has been treated. I mean, if it's been ragged every day of its life, track dayed every single day of the year, then the turbo will probably be in quite bad condition and may need changing or repairing. But if it's just been, you know, driven around town to Tesco's and all that stuff, then it should be okay, and well, it might just need opening up a bit for it to reach its full potential, just like mine. And that's pretty much it for the engine bay. I mean, the rest of it is pretty much self-explanatory. You want to check the spark plugs and the coil packs, just make sure they're all well and good. And I've got to say, mine has been running perfectly. Starts up, no problem, and all of the components have been absolutely amazing. And well, that is pretty much it for the engine bay. Let's get right to the rest of the car. So whilst we're at the front, we'll actually talk about some of the electronics as well, and that is the headlights and some of the other electronics in the car. Now, for the headlights, these are LEDs and have been running absolutely fantastic. Haven't had any issues with them and no faults have arisen as of yet. The Series 4s usually run Bosch German electrics instead of the older Magneti Marelli Italian electrics, so you do stand quite a bit more of a chance with allowing them to work and having no problems to arise. And well, that is the main thing about the car. A lot of parts in it are pretty much German, and that's a great thing. It allows you to have a pretty awesome car with great components and electronics and having less of a risk of them breaking. I mean, usually when you see posts and videos about Abarths and their electronics going wrong, it's usually the Series 3s and not many Series 4s because, well, like I said, they run Italian electrics instead of German. So that's why I kind of recommend the Series 4 as well, and that is actually one point I left out last video. Because they're mostly German, it allows you to have a pretty solid car. So coming up to another important part of the car now, and that is what it sits on, the wheels and tyres. Now, I have Pirelli P0 Neros equipped on this car and they have been utterly fantastic. They've lasted around 2-ish years now, though the front two have been changed. I mean, they were pretty much fine. They had tons of life in them, but they were an MOT advisory. Though I could have kept them as they were, I do like to have a fresh car and I do love to keep on top of it, and I decided to go for another pair of Pirelli P0 Neros because hey, who doesn't love a matching set of tyres all around? And yeah, so the front two are pretty much fresh and brand new, and I've got to say I did massively feel the difference when I got the front pair done, because wow, when I drove out of the lot and from the garage, goodness gracious, they felt fantastic. I don't know, I just really felt a difference between them and the older ones. They were just great. The rear tyres are still the same ones that I picked the car up with, and they have still got quite a bit of life on them, I must admit. I mean, I don't rag this car at all, and pretty much I drive this sensibly and nicely. So that pretty much means the tyres will be able to keep a lot of life in them and they'll last a lot longer. I mean, they might need to be changed soon, but maybe during next year, because they still have quite a lot of tread on them and quite a lot of life as well. So I'm not too fussed about them for now, but I would definitely say Pirelli P0 Neros are the tyre to go for this car, because they're just so reliable and the performance of them is fantastic. They are super grippy and they're just a great tyre in general. So coming up now to another part of the wheels, and that is the brakes. Now, when I bought the car, it had brand new discs and pads all around, and that was pretty awesome to know, and kudos to Car Supermarket for doing that when I bought the car. And ever since then, they have been absolutely fantastic. No problems with them. The stopping power is absolutely immense and great as well. I've been in some sticky situations sometimes when people have pulled out when they shouldn't, and the brakes have just been phenomenal. They stop instantly and they're great for everyday driving. Now, like I said, these were changed when I bought the car, and ever since that day that I have had no problems with them at all. No signs of like them wearing away or needing change, and well, they've just been absolutely fantastic indeed. Before we move on to the rest of the car, I just want to quickly mention the lower control arms and the suspension, because again, those are also quite important components of the car, and you guys will want to know how they've been after some time. Now, as we all know as Abarth owners, this car is very stiff and very hard, meaning everyday driving is a little bit of a challenge because hey, every pothole feels like you've just dipped your tyre into the middle of the earth. Bruh. And well, it can be a bit shaky at times. And well, this might impact the suspension, though I haven't had any errors or warnings or, you know, any damage to them so far. But I did need to do the lower control arm because that did sort of, well, go. It did show signs of it needing changing. There was some knocking noises when I was driving, and that was just a clear indicator that the lower control arm was definitely not happy. Now, if I can recall, I believe it was this side, the passenger side, that did need changing. And well, absolute nightmare, guys. I don't want to go through that because I don't want to remind myself of the nightmare that was changing the lower control arm. But that is one thing that was a little bit dodgy on the car, and now it has been changed. No issues, no problems at all. As for the driver's side lower control arm, that is still the same one that I got when I picked up the car, and I haven't experienced any issues with that one either. There's no knocking, no signs of it needing changing at all. So I think, fingers crossed, this one is still all good and okay. As for the suspension, like I said with the lower control arm, no issues at all, and I don't believe that'll need changing, well, ever. I mean, I plan to have this car for another 2 or 3 years, so hopefully everything on it will be all good until then. I mean, obviously the rear tyres may need changing, but as for the rest of the components of the car, I'm hoping they should be okay until the day I decide to change. So just before we get to the interior of the car and go over the aesthetics, we will just mention some of the other electronics around the outside, such as the bulbs in the brake lights. They have been absolutely fine, never needed changing, and they are still the same ones to this day. The windscreen wipers, absolutely fantastic, no signs of them needing changing either, and well, after all, they are Bosch, so they will last quite a long time and shouldn't give any problems. The Cyclops in the top of the wing here is fine as well, no problems with that. The exhaust, well, it is a straight pipe, so that has been changed from the stock exhaust, but that's been great as well. As for the stock exhaust itself, you guys will probably notice when you either lift it up on a ramp or change it, that it is quite cracked and a bit rusty. Now the back box, I don't know why it decides to do it. I guess weathering and just driving all the time does wear it out, but it does seem to be very cracked on the outer case of the back box. Now this isn't a problem. It doesn't mean the exhaust will break or any issues will arise with it, but it just doesn't look very nice at all. So just keep that in mind if you ever see the exhaust off the car or in the air. So the mirrors have been fine as well. The glass has been perfectly okay and they move no problem. They go up and down and all around without any issues. So that is fantastic. So that's pretty much finished off the mechanics of the car. We will talk about some electronics on the interior, but for now, that's pretty much it for the exterior mechanics and components. Now, a lot of you will probably have different experiences to me, just like I said in the previous video. And hey, you can leave your comments down below if you want to, but you may either have an older car or maybe something's happened to it that's made it slightly dodgy. Stuff like that can happen, and maybe it came from an owner that didn't treat it very well. So like I said, everyone will always have a different story with their car, and some stuff will be much different to others. So now, how about we talk about some exterior stuff like the paint, the wheels, and some of the other little bits and bobs. So we'll start off with the paint, and that has been absolutely perfect. I mean, I have taken such good care of the paint since day one. I mean, it's had so much polish, wax, and TLC, so the final result has always been glimmering, shining, glossy, and has always had a lovely fleck to it. Day, night, rain, snow, wind, any weather condition, it always looks super, super nice. And you guys can do the exact same. I'm thinking of maybe bringing back the cleaning series and trying to, well, show you guys some polishing and waxing videos so you guys can also get that lovely, shiny result. So that's pretty much the paint. No chips or bad flecking or any, well, wear and tear issues. The paint has just been absolutely excellent and always has looked lovely. The stripes, they have been absolutely fantastic as well. Nothing has been peeling off them, and they have been superb since the day they were on the car. I mean, if you can see here, none of the letters have peeled back, and they are all in fantastic condition. And yeah, they don't need changing or repairing or even changing at all. I think I just said changing twice, but hey ho, pretty much, you know what I mean. So as for the wheels, they have pretty much been superb too. I mean, I've never curbed these wheels, and like I said, fingers crossed, I really hope that stays the same as well, because nobody likes a curbed wheel, guys. But yeah, the condition of these have been fantastic, and yeah, I've absolutely loved these wheels, apart from needing to just top them up with a little paint now and again. I mean, these wheels have been painted black, so of course, some stone chips may take away the black paint, but apart from that, they have been A-okay. Coming to the badges on the side here, they have also been excellent. I mean, there's slight dirt on it, but apart from that, I mean, you can see the quality of them is absolutely just awesome. And yeah, they haven't peeled or fallen off at all, and they've just been like that ever since. And I absolutely love them. They really add character to the side profile, and yeah, they have been absolutely fantastic. The rear of the car is the same thing. All of it is just superb, and no issues have arisen ever since I've bought the car. It's been utterly fantastic owning this thing, and every single angle of the car has never had an issue. I mean, of course, mechanics are the only thing that you really need to worry about, but in terms of aesthetics and overall design, it's flawless. The Abarth is honestly such a work of art, and this car has been super good since day one and since I picked it up. I've not had to deal with any exterior parts or bits going wrong or being damaged or anything like that. Maybe some stone chips here and there, but I mean, that's natural really. I mean, you know, that is something you just got to deal with when owning a car. But as for the rest of the outside, it's been super good. The front bumper too has also been fine, nothing to report there. I mean, all the accents are still intact, the lights are great, and the bottom bumper is also in fantastic condition. None of the text on the grille has faded away or even chipped at all, which is very surprising actually. Those paint pens are very good, that's for sure. The fog lights have still been good as well. Nothing has fallen out, nothing is damaged, and everything has been superb. And yeah, like I said, nothing to report in terms of damage. So coming to the interior now, and well, everything has been a-okay. The radio has always been fine, turns on and off perfectly and plays all your music as it needs to. Your vents and your AC has also been fine too. Works like a charm and has never had to be regassed. I mean, since today anyway. It did get regassed, I think a couple of weeks after I picked up the car, but that was the only time it needed doing. Not sure when it might need it again, but it's been fine since that day. Sport button works fine as well, and everything else has been an absolute pleasure. The gearbox is absolutely great too. I mean, it goes in every gear without fault. I'll just show you quickly here. And yeah, it's been absolutely great. Reverse obviously works as well, but I don't want to do that because, I mean, oh, there you go. All good. Sometimes it is a little bit difficult to get it in reverse. I don't know why, it just seems to not like going in reverse. But there you go. As you can see, the gearbox works perfectly fine. The handbrake as well is also perfect. No issues with that. It is a little bit hard sometimes, and usually I think I've had it once where it didn't put it on properly, but that was just me, you know, being silly. I don't think I pulled it up to a, well, good enough height for it to stop. But yeah, apart from that, no issues have arisen from it. The doors also work perfectly fine in terms of the locking system. As you hear, it's locked and unlocked. Absolutely fine. The screen works as well. DigiJazz is perfect. And the whole car on the inside is absolutely faultless. I'll just start the car up real quickly so you can see as well that it starts up absolutely fine and everything is working as it should. So we'll just start the car up here, and as you can see, the screen turns on without problem, and as you can see, everything is reading properly and coming up on the screen as it should. And if we just start the car here, starts up like a dream. No problems at all. And for any of you wondering if the turbo gauge is still going, there you go, it's working perfectly fine. Obviously I'd have to rev it a little bit more or drive it in order for you to see that it goes around fully, but as you can see, it works. It still is going. The only time it doesn't seem to want to work is in the cold. I think it's just because the electronics freeze up a little bit, so some things do go offline, but as long as you warm the cabin and turn it off and turn it back on again, then it's all good. As for the rest of the screens, everything works perfectly, and as you can see, every screen's coming up here. All good. Tyres are okay too, and there are no lights or anything like that on the dash. All good and all nice. As you can see as well, just through the gap, if I put my foot on the clutch is all good too. Nothing to report there. The brakes are also fine as well, and well, as you can probably hear, the throttle is also all good. So yeah, that is pretty much everything, guys. I mean, we'll step outside real quick to do the outro and just show you the seats as well, but that's pretty much everything for the interior. So, just to show you that the bolsters are also good. I mean, usually the bolsters on some cars aren't very good at all. I mean, Type Rs, for example, I mean, if we just flip the phone around here, bruh. That's my honest reaction to a Type R bolster. They don't seem to last at all. I mean, 28,000 miles, 2019 FK8 Type R, the bolster, done for, finished. Not sure why that is. I mean, ever since the Type R has gone to in-house seats, they don't seem to wear as well. Not sure why that is, but as you can see on the Abarth, the bolsters are perfectly fine. There's no wear or tear there at all, and the rest of the seats are also very nice and in great condition. The side seals as well are stuck down, and they haven't had a problem since. When I did buy the car, they were slightly up and they weren't fully in place, but just a little bit of glue. I think actually used double-sided tape, and that has gone down perfectly and has never come up since. But yeah, that is pretty much it. So how about we outro the video? So everyone, perfect timing. It's actually started spitting a bit now. I'm hoping it doesn't create a storm. I don't want to drive back in the rain, guys. But pretty much, as you can probably see throughout the entire video, there's been no problems with the car. The mechanics, the components, and the aesthetics have been 100% A-okay. And that's why I love this car. People might have their, well, thoughts and opinions about Abarths and them being, you know, unreliable. But I can honestly say, with 100% truth, this car is perfect. No issues, no problems at all. You may have some minor hiccups, but they're pretty much normal for any car. The battery, the tyres, you know, stuff like that, they go at certain points, and they always do. You can't prevent it. It just has to happen, because that's what it's like owning a car. But to put those myths aside about Abarth, I could definitely say they are false. This car is absolutely reliable, it's perfectly fine, and, well, if you get a peach of an example, you're definitely going to last a lot longer than other Abarths out there. Because, well, I mean, if it's an older car, or like I said previously, it hasn't been taken care of, then the chances are there is going to be a higher risk of things going wrong. But if you get a low mileage example that's been, you know, taken care of well, then hey, you're gonna have a great time and, well, pretty much less issues as well. So guys, that's pretty much everything for today's video, and the second video of maybe 4 or 5 informative ones that I'm planning to get out this week. Really hope you enjoyed it, and hey, if you want to see more content like this and anything else that happens on the channel, you guys know what to do. Hit that bell, like, comment and subscribe, all of that good stuff. I think I was able to talk about everything today, but if I did miss something out, then please leave it in the comments down below. But yeah, that's pretty much everything. I'll see you in the future, guys. Have a good one.